Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes from August 4th? All right, hearing none, all in favor of accepting those? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. All right, we have our interim financials and a review of the preliminary year-end 2022. John, do you want to take us through those?
Okay, so why don't we start with year end, I guess. Nothing has really changed since the last time. So we're still going through final audit. So 3 months from now, you'll get the final.
Okay,
Nothing has changed really since the last time you saw them. So you just scan them over. I'm sure you've all looked at them.
I know Jim asked a question about the cleaning reimbursement.
Yes.
Was that out of here yet or not?
No, that's not in here.
Okay,
That's in this year's.
okay, that's already in the.
They didn't tell, Ted did email me. I don't, maybe it was inside or outside saying that the checks will be cut in November.
Yeah, that was me.
That was you?
Yeah.
I said Ted on it.
I think Ted commented and then John sent it out.
Yep. So yes, those are forthcoming. Yep. So we can, if you want, we can go to the next financials if you're all right with the year end.
Yes,
So
let's go
again,
ahead and take a look
these
at the year-to-date 2023.
Yep. These will be, so again, the last year end will be final for the next meeting after the audit. So then you can see where we're at today. So this is ending 31 October. And so we still have, we have unrecorded right now income coming in. So
Okay.
that's what you're seeing on the top. And then
So that's why our balance actually went down. It's not really a dip in the balance, but a dip, and we haven't recorded our income.
yeah, we will receive all of our funds.
Okay.
It's just a matter of receiving them and recording them. So, and then as you go down through the expenses, you can see we're holding pretty good. Mainly, most of our funds are coming out of the physical and maintenance improvements. And we've got things left to do. We've got we've got a couple grand now that's being paid for wrapping up all the mowing and stuff. And then I've got a meeting today with the landscapers. We're gonna go out and identify all the trees to be trimmed. And then also come up with a plan for an earlier start in the spring for roundup and all that sort of stuff. So that'll all come out of this year's budget still. So
Quick question, are the banners removed in the winter?
they aren't removed, but we have quite a few that are down right now. And we're working between staffing issues and equipment issues to get new banners up. So we'll be taking down the red ones. The red ones that talk about the city as an all-American city. We'll be taking those down, replacing with the ones we bought months ago. And making sure they're all put up back up.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and Carl may or may not have more information on that, but
So, Vester, did you think it's good not to have them up in the winter, or for?
I just know we in other municipalities, I'm sure
Yeah.
we taking down the banners in the winter just for, so they don't get weathered too bad, and then we put them back up in the spring, so.
yeah.
I
That would be
saw some missing.
Yeah, they're missing. We've got missing ones. I think that would be a real challenge for us,
Yeah, I mean, would it really extend the life? I don't know. You're talking, winters in Michigan, the same as any other. Wind is really our enemy, and sunlight. The snow is not going to really impact those. So I don't know if there's operationally, it'd be a challenge for us to kind of put them up, take them down. I think we have an operational challenge just maintaining the ones that are not up. So.
Yeah, I asked the question more thinking about if we had new ones, if we hold off till spring to put them up, or if it makes any sense since he brought it up.
They seem to hold up. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it looks kind of silly if they're half up and half down. We
Yeah.
might as well get the new
But
ones
in
up.
general, I mean, I have to give the company, whoever we get them from, kudos, because they have a very good product as far as, how it fades and how it holds up. I've always thought it was a good product in comparison to some of the stuff I get from, GM or Nissan or something.
So Consort is who creates them, and in my experience, the last two communities I worked for this one, they just have their life cycle, and again, what Carl said is wind, usually they rip at the seams, then they loosen up, and then they shake loose, and then the wind really beats them up.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's just,
Just a
I
thought.
mean, not a bad thought, but I think one of the biggest things is the labor it takes to put them up.
Say we get them up when possible.
Yeah, we'll keep pushing to
Get the
What's
continuity.
the
of-
schedule look like for them? Is there, are we a month away from seeing them put up or? days
I don't know,
away?
I'll have to double check with field services, but this is, as long as it doesn't snow from now, like we're kind of geared up for snow now. So if we get a late arriving winter, then this is a good time for us we're trying to tackle as much tree work as we can right now with the leaves off the trees before the snow flies. So
Okay.
it's everything seasonal with us. So,
In between the leaves and the snow, we think we might be able to get at them.
So we'll just keep asking. I keep between both of us.
I'll follow up with him, John, and give you a little bit more detail if you want to share that with everyone.
That'd be good. Okay.
Any other budget questions, comments?
Just one anomaly. I'm trying to see where it might have showed up. It might have been I think we had an early payoff. Yeah, it showed up at the other, we could have talked about it at the other one, the year end.
Year end
We have-
20.
Yeah, we have a little
Two.
more money in there than we normally would have. And again, we're attributing that to someone making a purchase of some sort and paying off an early assessment. So again, it's not that we have extra money.
Mhm.
We're just gonna have to take it out of, because we have a set assessment. So we just got paid early.
And let's say, are we in year 2?
3,
Three? Okay.
3.
5 year.
So we'll just adjust.
Any idea if we went through and had to change the motor mile signage, or not necessarily the poles, but the signs that are on top of those poles that at all the businesses? Any idea of what that would cost? Do you know what those kind of cost originally?
Gentlemen, sorry about
That's okay.
Yeah, so we went through when we originally did those, John, to bring it, because you weren't here, and kind of asked each dealer what they needed, whether it was used cars, new car, service, parts, those kind of labels for our directional signs, and then they went ahead and had those all made up for the businesses.
Yeah.
We could expand it further into other businesses on the mile to keep the look and feel together and kind of get an idea, but
Yeah, so we can, Jim brought that up and let's add it to the agenda and then we'll have a little more discussion about it. And basically I said, let's do a survey,
yep.
see what the conditions are and then call them company. I know the company, I'm pretty sure I know the company that did them.
Okay.
So.
How do yours look? Mine seems to just kind of be faded and, a couple of them been hit, over the years.
Yeah, there seems like there's one that might be bent or crooked, and otherwise I think they're okay. But I haven't looked at how faded they are.
I went out and did a quick look after that and I noticed that there was one that slid down the pole, I
Mhm.
think.
Mhm.
So probably just an overall assessment and look at them.
I think unless somebody else says something, the poles look fine. If we were gonna use them, I probably would use the same poles. And
Yeah.
look, I don't know if it would be a new design or
Right.
or something like that. But anyways,
Yeah.
just an idea. Do an assessment on them and then we can get a feel for what the board thinks.
Right, and then see if you want to change the look, because the look really doesn't necessarily tie to the red, white, and blue, it's a different theme. So,
Thank you.
well, let's say, make sure we'll circle back and get that.
Sure.
other New business.
Okay, are we all done with the budget? Anyone else? We don't need to make any,
No, we'll just put it on file.
Use of it today. Okay.
Everyone's okay with it.
all right. Well, moving to old business, we have a banner update, which I think we already covered.
We started.
So do you want to move on to landscaping, maintenance?
Yeah, I will. So, and we just sort of touched on that a little bit too. We've got a few trees down. We have a tree down right here on Kendall Street, a small one. And so I'm gonna see if we can't get that taken care of. And then we've got down near Riverside Drive, there's a continual fencing issue there. We've been over the years attacking little by little, getting out the volunteer trees out of that fence line. And so I'd like to do that now while the leaves are all gone and get some root killer and that kind of stuff on it. And then basically come back up and work along the railroad side, coming down the trees from Kendall on up, and maybe raising up the canopy so that they can get them more closer to the trees and all that kind of stuff. So
Great.
that kind of work.
Is that in the turf works you're gonna have to do that, or you
Yeah.
do put it out to a couple of different
Yeah,
places?
I was asking Turf Works to take care of it.
Okay.
If they think it's beyond what they can do, then we need an arborist, but it's not that. I mean, right now, it doesn't seem like that kind of work. Seems more like trimming small.
Is that fence required?
Yeah, I tried to get that fence out a couple times, but
There's other parts of the river that are certainly the fence,
so,
not fence, so I don't know what's
yeah, so
the.
that's
And
an
it's not
M-
part of the channel.
No, it's an MDOT issue. So you know where Blue Ox is?
Yeah.
So they've got a little fence piece there and then where there are the apartments and then there is a street. And then there's a boulevard and then there's the fence. I've tried with MDOT a couple times to say, there's no, I mean, what's the reason for the fence? And they're like, to
Right.
keep the neighborhood kids from, kind of coming out into the highway area, but even though
Well, but
there's nothing
I'm
there.
talking on the north side. By
The
between
river,
Oh, the
one
north
line in
side.
the river there.
Yeah, well, that's on the.
Yeah, that's
that
actually part of the
Army Corps.
Army Corps project. It's supposed to keep people out from fishing down there, because they're not supposed to be down there fishing, but.
Keep people out of the channel system. So let's hope that,
While we're trying to spend $10 million to get people into the channel.
13.
Don't throw it.
Wow, 3 million there. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
The
That's
end result
more
right now,
the
we're
end
spending.
So, yeah, so let's hope that, and Carl, maybe between Carl and I, we'll talk a little bit about that, but let's hope that some of that moves forward as we envision it, and then all of that comes down when we naturalize. the
They
river.
obviously don't keep the cars out of the channel.
It does not.
No, does not work for cars.
It doesn't. The cars actually make us have to replace
Right.
certain areas every
Right.
time. every few
I guess especially, where there's a big area of grass between the road and the river, I don't know why we would even,
Yeah,
take the fence out.
yeah.
I didn't realize you were talking about the one on the other side of the road.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
the
that's
little, that little
Yeah.
one's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't serve any function really, but yeah, I've asked it a number of times. I think Blue Ox has probably wanted to get the one out on their property too. So we'll just keep at the fence. We'll get it cleaned up. That fence that you're talking about, we've done pretty good at keeping it clean. There's a few things where we need to go in there. We'll look at that today as well. But I guess we'll talk about the river here in a minute.
sure.
So
Security cameras.
Yep, so security cameras, spoke with PD last week. And they're getting me with their folks who do the site analysis. And so we just need to schedule that and come out and start doing the site analysis. So,
Okay.
And then sheriff's here, so we'll make sure we get connected with RPD, the sheriff's department, so that we can do both ends.
It's more of a general analysis to see if we can somehow not necessarily physically network, but network our camera so we get the best view of everything happening in the district.
Mhm.
Kind of have someone tell us, okay, you should have a camera facing this way and that way, and then we know we have a grid
Sure.
of cameras that are somewhat capturing any activity that we can.
And then try to backfill
Yeah.
with incentives. And then they did say that RPD said that they would send the person out that was knowledgeable about also just general lighting and all that kind of stuff. Like how can they improve? If there's ways, not just the cameras, preventative stuff. Sure.
I think Kia has full-time security now. I've had a couple of people tell me that
Oh, really?
we're down there looking at cars that after hours, and all of a sudden, whoop, up comes a guy and says, who are you? Where are you? I want to see your driver's license.
Hmm.
On and on and on. So they've obviously had some cars taken and everything else. So
And
It's a bit aggressive.
yeah,
Interrogation on the lot.
yeah.
Hadn't thought about that, but would that be something that any, like collectively? No. not
If
worth
we
it?
were to see a big uptick this
Yeah,
summer or
otherwise,
something,
no.
coming, I think in the wintertime, cross my fingers, things tend to go down, people stay in more, but if we see something bad happening, we can, it could work if we had a big need. Right now, we don't think we have the need.
Yeah, it's definitely quieted down.
Somewhat. Mhm.
I think it always seems to be the one that the one bad apple too. I mean, having my brother down the street by you and then having me down by Tim.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how like my brother will say like, hey, this kid's been, in our showroom trying to take keys.
Yeah.
The next day I have that same kid in my showroom trying to take keys, and then I hear, Gil tells me, oh, he was in our showroom trying to take keys. So it's amazing that the one bad apple can run through that motor mile on foot and try to steal cars and steal keys. And it's one individual that terrorizes us all, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So
Are you guys on any kind of group?
No.
Kind of thing?
No. The Michigan Association of Dealers has a group email and does send out fraud alerts, different things. Someone's using a fake ID here or there. That's a pretty good, yeah, we should probably have a little chat or something to
Like
talk
a-
about
Like
the
in a
security issues.
Yeah, like a constant contact thing.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's a good idea.
So, all right, well, that's something.
set that up and we can analyze, say, hey, we got suspicious activity in this.
Right.
Right, this is just what I saw.
Yeah. Mhm.
Just someone, and
well,
then
you can blow it even back through this group, for the most part.
Oh, exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
you reply.
Just reply back through this, then that way
Mhm.
everybody knows.
does anyone want to take point on that and I can get staff around it? Anyone?
Mhm.
No?
You
I
can
think
contact me.
realistically, it's just, yeah, if somebody has a problem, just blow an email back into this group and then I'll notify them.
Yeah, we don't mind
Yeah.
using the having them, I mean, the other members of the bid will probably
Yeah.
don't wanna be upset if they hear about things.
So
I
maybe,
guess I would be, maybe a counter to that would be for those that aren't on this group, like the Ford or,
Yeah.
the stores, if it's gonna be particularly an automotive thing, maybe we would be better off to set up.
John, go ahead and get with me and get to see
Okay.
with staff what they,
Yeah.
yeah, if you
We'll
wanna
do-
do
Because
something
I'd
like
rather
that.
have my sales managers on.
Yeah, we wanna get
If I'm on the
our
road,
managers,
if I'm
sales and
on-
service managers on it, so they know if something's going on.
so we
Especially,
could do a
key
constant
info.
contact with like sort of a private, like you guys assign someone, they get in. I mean, you can all be in, but then assign a few people.
Right,
sure.
So it doesn't just start going out to
right.
Yep,
everybody.
yep,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and go
Okay, I'll
with John,
coordinate with you.
We'll double your pay as chair.
thank you.
You don't have to do anything, just tell us we're doing it right.
I can winter in the Bahamas now.
Yeah, nice. You're waiting for that windfall.
Okay. Constant contact, so that was under.
That was under security cameras, and now are there any updates on the river restoration project?
Well, we continue to meet with the Army Corps of Engineers I think we're moving to a bi-monthly basis, but we met last week with them. They're on track for finishing the hydraulic and the hydrology study, which is probably about 6 months earlier than what we thought they would be. So we're sharing information back with them. They're asking good questions. We've started to engage the railroad, which is probably a good idea because of the length of time that will take. So that will be a pretty big decision point for the project. So things seem to be
There
moving
are active
forward.
tracks that are in the projects.
Yeah, so
Whereabouts?
because the project's not complicated enough, the concrete channel takes a turn, goes under Washington Avenue.
Train
which is-
tracks are right
where
there.
There's a state trunk line and then there's 2 tracks. One of them is a state-owned Amtrak route. The other one I think is CN.
So, yeah.
And so we have MDOT Road, MDOT Rail, and CN all underneath each other. And the question it's a good question the Army Corps posed to us, and we need to know it, is that what are the design constraints on that structure? Can it be widened? Can it be moved? Does it have to stay the way it is? All those we can work around. Ideally, we'd like to widen it so that we can do naturalization all the way through it. Maintaining the tracks will be difficult. So the good news is that they've already started a bit of a study phase because I think Amtrak really wanted to have an additional rail through town because there's a little bit of congestion with passenger and freight through Battle Creek. So that was just a study that had come to our attention probably a year ago, and I haven't heard much on it. So that's kind of an update on river naturalization.
What's the timeline on the Army Corps? You said 6 months earlier from what? When
So there's 2
project
phases,
it to
right?
be?
Hydrology study, and then after that, modeling.
Well, yeah, so hydraulic is the study of the water going through the channel. Hydrology is like watershed issues. Both of them play a part in what we're doing. Once they do that, they're able to tell us, okay, if you want river naturalization all the way to the Battle Creek River and taking out the dam, then you need to have this footprint of river. And what that allows us to do is go to neighboring properties and say, okay, we can buy this property. We already acquired this property. We can go this way, find enough property along the channel of the river so that we can go back to the Army Corps engineer and say, there's a federal government, so we're in a, forget the name of the process we're in right now, but we want to be in an 1135. An 1135 allows them to, once we demonstrate that we own property, enough property for a feasible project, they will design and pay for up to $20 million or some ridiculous amount of money for a project. And we need their money and we need a lot of other people's money in order to do it. So that's really the first step, because it's their project and they need to design it. So.
But what, again, what is that's supposed to be done? You said it's getting done faster than what?
Yeah, so the hydraulic and hydrology study, they think will be done by the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
So,
End of this year.
right, and so
Wow.
they still are gonna need some time to give us a footprint.
Yeah.
But the original plan was we weren't gonna get that until spring, so.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that'll take us out of the dark.
Yeah.
We'll know what we're dealing with. So that's exciting.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Now, new business. We have a police department update. No, we have the sheriff department here today. Any good news to share?
Well, as somebody jinxed us already, we have seen a lower amount of incidents happening on Dickman Road with the car dealerships and stuff, so that's a good thing. Things like that seem to always follow a trend where there's a huge uptick and then it drops off, and hopefully, especially with the cameras and moving forward, we can keep that as a low and not happening again.
Yep.
And our detectives, both ours and Battle Creek Cities, have spent a lot of time and resources fingerprinting the vehicles, where we make several arrests with people associated on that. That's about it. Still catalytic converters are always a hot topic too. I know the Springfield Do It Center usually gets hit occasionally.
Big
Those
trucks.
they'll go through the fence line and take them out on the U-Haul trucks. So again, if you've got vehicles that have, I believe it's the Honda vans, their catalytic converters are a high-end dollar. So yeah,
Tell your
don't
brother.
sit around, keep those in a fenced area or under cameras.
He probably doesn't have any anyways.
No, not new at least.
So that's, I know those are really hit a lot too because of the value they pay on them, so. But other than that, nothing really new luckily, so knock on wood, hopefully that continues.
I think you said that about the Kia lot, security there. I mean, they have that TikTok deal where they tell you how to steal a Kia, so.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And Hyundai's, right?
yeah, they have a vulnerability that it's really.
We should share that on the Motor Mile Facebook.
Yeah. That just made me think that's probably why they had the security, because it is so easy to get one, I guess. So, yeah. Well, thank you.
Mhm.
Anything we can do to be more interactive with the department?
Oh, I don't believe so.
Okay. Excellent.
Guess we're
You know,
moving
I
in
see
the right
that
direction
we
with
do
the
that.
project. so.
We do the notification thing that
Yeah, we
the
get
city
the
and
sheriff
law
and the-
enforcement should be plugged
yeah,
into that if we're
CPD.
seeing suspicious activity or.
Yeah, because then they can feed it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be good.
Great. Public comments, we don't have any public here, so there are no comments. Additional board member comments?
Well, let's make sure that, so we'll recognize Jim's comments on the
Signs.
the signs, the entry, the service signs.
Directional
signs.
Signs, yeah, business directional signs.
So we'll do a survey. And price. If, how to move forward if we want to do something. Okay. Also, so in your budget, we've got $10,000 set aside for matching grants, and we have two. So we've got Jim's project and Baxter had a project. So it's in our budget. And my intention was to spend that and go back to both of their projects.
What was Baxter's project? I know what my project
So
is.
he did landscaping all the way around the.
Oh, his whole
property.
building, okay.
Mhm.
So did they submit us?
Yeah, I
Receipts
got all the
and so forth.
receipts. I don't have Jim's current receipts, but I was gonna document all of his work and
So are we
His
doing
receipts.
5,000 each?
5,000.
What's your budget?
The body shop office that we added on.
That's great.
Thank you.
Mhm. So
Get there.
in the budget, so everyone's good.
Yes.
Move forward with that, okay. Expense. All right. I guess carry on. Any other board
Comments,
comments?
suggestions? All right, hearing none, we are adjourned.